The hearing will come to order. Thank you all of the commissioners for being with us here today as the subcommittee conducts an oversight of the Federal Trade Commission. The Commission has a broad mandate to protect consumers from unfair and deceptive trade practices. Its consumer protection mission includes protecting consumers from everything from robocalls, ticket bots, and data breaches, and enforcing laws such as the Consumer Review Fairness Act, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. This is the first opportunity for this subcommittee to hear from all 5 new commissioners since their confirmation this past spring and learn about their enforcement priorities. This spring, the Commission announced it would hold a series of hearings titled Competition and Consumer Protection in the 21st Century, with the goal of exploring whether evolving business practices and emerging technologies might necessitate changes to the FTC enforcement policy and priorities. So far, the Commission has held 7 hearings on topics which included big data and artificial intelligence, with data security and privacy hearings to be held in the next few months. I would like to hear from the commissioners about the response they have gotten to the hearings, what they have learned so far, and what, if any, policy or enforcement guidance might result. I'm also interested in what the Commission can share on its investigation into Equifax and Facebook. In September 2017, the FTC announced that it had opened an investigation into Equifax's massive data breach that affected the personal information of at least 148 million Americans. The breach apparently went unnoticed by Equifax for more than 70 days, and once the company finally realized that a breach had occurred, the company waited 6 weeks to report it. The breach put consumers at high risk of identity theft. Last March, following the Cambridge Analytica scandal, the FTC also confirmed that it was investigating whether Facebook's privacy practices violated the Commission's 2012 consent decree. This subcommittee held a hearing on June the 19th focused on how the use of the app by about 300,000 Facebook users ultimately resulted in the personal information of nearly 87 million Facebook users being transferred to Cambridge Analytica. It would be useful to know if the Commission has an anticipated timeline for when the results of that investigation will be announced and what penalties the company might face if the Commission determines its practices did violate the consent decree. Privacy has emerged as an area of major concern for consumers. In the past month alone, Facebook and Google revealed the exposure of personal information of up to 30 million and 500,000 users, respectively. And these are just the latest in a long series of incidents that have raised serious concerns about privacy practices of large tech companies and the adequacy of their responses. In the wake of these incidents, the implementation of the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, in Europe, and the recent passage of the California Consumer Privacy Act, it has become clear that the U.S. needs a federal consumer data privacy law. My colleagues on the committee and I are pursuing a bipartisan privacy legislative proposal. As the primary federal privacy regulator that has brought over 100 data security and privacy cases over the last 20 years and issued privacy guidance, the FTC has a unique experience and expertise to call on when we work to develop that privacy legislation. I look forward to hearing from the commissioners about what they think should be included in any federal privacy legislation and what additional tools the FTC might need in order to continue to effectively protect consumer privacy while still encouraging and enhancing innovation. With that, I turn to the ranking member so that he can make his opening statement.